Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Play On podcast. This is the football edition, and in this part me and Luke are going to have a look at the action which took place in the Leinster Football Championship. The two semi-finals were played at the weekend. Dublin beat Meath by 216 to 113 and Kildare beat Westmeath by 214 to 18 points, meaning that our Leinster Football Final for 2021 is Dublin against Kildare. We'll start with the Dublin versus Meath game. A very strange game. Dublin looked absolutely insanely good in the first half. They led by 2-11 to 6 points at half time. And then Dublin only kicked 5 points in the second half. Very, very strange game. And yeah, a lot of people now really ramping up the talk of, Dublin are fading, Dublin are collapsing. And I picked, Kerry to win the All-Ireland this year. I'm sticking with that prediction. But I think people are going a little bit overboard about the whole Dublin are falling apart thing. I think Meath played well. And yeah, I think Dublin are they're not as good as they ever were. I do think they're not as good as they were in 2017. But I think people need to calm down a little bit. I think it's people hoping more than actual fact.
Yeah, look, I think Dublin were excellent in the first half, and they looked kind of at their sharpest, and they looked so dominant in that. And then it was just really negative in the second half, and they were nearly satisfied to do just a patient hand passing around the whole time, and ultimately ended up just being booed by the fans. So it was a really dull second half approach from Dublin. They only picked 2 points in the first 35 minutes of the second half, and ultimately they had to kind of up the gears themselves and kick the last 3 points to actually seal the game. So it was kind of weird, but I suppose they never looked in danger of losing the game really, and when they had to kind of push themselves more, they did, and they kicked 3 points in a row. So that's probably the thing to take from it, is that you still have to imagine that Dublin kind of have a level of control over their own performance, and that they can up their performance levels as it goes on. Maybe they're doing heavier training at the moment and are preparing themselves probably for an All-Ireland semi-final already, maybe. But I think not a vintage performance anyway. And with everything kind of going on between Cluxton, like there's probably the camp's not probably at its happiest right now and stuff. There's not everyone's not fully getting on as well as they used to. So it's like that's probably leading into all these questions about whether kind of the dominance is over. And these kind of flat performances are probably just going to keep feeding into these questions surrounding if Dublin should be feared as the dominant team that they have been for the last few years.
Yeah, and I can see why people are saying that. Dublin did make hard work of a team that, failed to get out of Division 2 and a team that they battered last year. But I will remind people of this. Cast your minds back to 2009. Kerry, of course, they'd won All-Irelands in 2006 and 2007, and they were finalists in 2008. They went out in the Munster Championship of 2009, and everyone was saying Kerry are finished, and they, snuck their way through the qualifiers. They beat Antrim in a very poor performance. They should have been beaten by Sligo. I remember watching that game, and Sligo missed a penalty in the last minute, which would have knocked Kerry out of the championship. And then Dublin were drawn against Kerry in the All-Ireland quarter-final, and I remember everyone immediately was saying Dublin are going to batter Kerry because this Kerry team is finished. They're on their last legs, and everyone completely wrote Kerry off, and Kerry annihilated that Dublin that day. It was one of the toughest games to watch I've ever been at, and that's the warning that I'd say is be careful how quickly you ride off the best team that we've ever seen in the game.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think they're still the favourites for the All-Ireland this year. It's just that it's just kind of it was a really measured kind of performance. Nearly too measured at times, and probably didn't make for amazing viewing in the second half. Really, you want to, if you're a Dublin fan, you'd like to see kind of them playing a little bit more. Like obviously, look, most of the work was done in the first half, and there were some good performances. Like Costello scored 1-4, O'Callaghan scored a goal in 3, Kilkenny scored 5 in play. Yeah, and like you look particularly like how the entire our half back line is out right now. Like, no, there's no Merchant, there's no Small, there's no McDade, and they're probably going to be all gone for a while as well. So, look, there's serious absentees into this. Cluxton won't be back this year. They even if he does come back, he won't be playing this year. It's too late in the season for that. So I think it definitely kind of leads into this kind of belief that's kind of certainly going around the country right now, that Dublin probably, this is the year to catch Dublin maybe, and that the current squad, and with the kind of the fitness of the current squad, they maybe aren't quite as intimidating as what they've been in like the last few years, particularly since 2013.
Yeah, I don't think they have the same fear factor that they used to have, particularly in Leinster. They used to just batter teams out the gate real quick. They still won the game by 6 points. We have to give a big shout out to Conor O'Callaghan for his goal. The way he just absolutely leathered this into the back of the net, just scary how good this guy is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's the thing. Like, you look kind of, Kilkenny and O'Callaghan are just still kind of probably two of the best footballers in the country. And as long as you've them in your team, you can win any match, really. So, you look kind of at the spine of Dublin's team, and as long as that they have Kilkenny, O'Callaghan, Fenton, McCarthy, they could beat anyone on any given day. So look, that's the thing that has to be considered by everyone. And that if people think that Dublin are here for the taking, like teams are gonna have to nullify those fellas and then trust that they can outscore the remaining fellas in that Dublin team. Because if those main lads aren't stopped, then chances are you're not winning the game.
Before we move on, we have to mention that Meath, did give a very good account of themselves, which, I do give a lot of respect to them for, because they were absolutely humiliated 2 years in a row by Dublin. The 2019 Leinster Final, Meath couldn't score to save their lives. And then the 2021, they were just beaten out the gate, and it was tough to watch. But this year, they gave a good account of themselves. Matthew Costello's goal in the second half, was their best moment in the second half. They dragged Dublin back to within 3 points. And yeah, is there a gap closing there?
Well, look, you look kind of at the scoreline 2 games so far. Like, Dublin only beat Wexford by 8. They beat Meath by 6. Like, this hasn't happened in a long, long time in Leinster. Maybe it does suggest that the gap is closing between the other counties. And then you look kind of at previous underage results between Dublin and Meath, and like, Dublin have only won in Park Talton kind of in different age groups twice in the last 10 times. So look, Meath have been producing most of the the better underage teams as well. So it's look, there probably is evidence that to suggest that the gap will probably start to close more and more, especially as some of the kind of key Dublin players get older. But look, they probably still have a long way to go to when they can probably seriously expect to get a result against Dublin.
Yeah, and to tag on to that point that you made about the Meath underage teams beating Dublin, the key difference is that Meath immediately take those players that narrowly beat Dublin and put them right into the seniors. So the likes of Jordan Morris, the likes of Shane Walsh, the likes of Ethan Devine, the likes of Carl Hickey, these guys, beat Dublin at underage, and they're immediately plucked straight into the seniors. And what happens is that they get, they come in, and then they're expected to kind of, change it overnight, which, is unrealistic to happen. But what is realistic to happen is that Meath keep getting these players in, who did beat Dublin at juvenile level. And eventually, the Fentons, the Kilkennys, the O'Callaghans, these guys get older, and, then maybe they can eventually overturn Dublin in a senior championship match. But, they need to keep producing these underage teams, because that's how they overturn Dublin, not by relying on a 19-year-old to come up. They have to have floods of talent, just like Dublin did, and still do to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it sums it up pretty well. Like, yeah, look, it was a promising performance from Meath, but ultimately, like, they didn't ever look like they were going to win that game as well, so it has to be considered too. So, yeah, look, it's probably just another day in the office for Dublin, and look, they're through to the next stage already then.
Yeah, and speaking of that next stage, they will play against Kildare in the Leinster Final of 2021. It was a hard-fought win for Kildare over Westmeath, 214 to 18 points. The big positive, obviously, is Daniel Flynn back to his best. This guy, he's the scorer of the best point in Gaelic football that I've ever seen. The point he got against Dublin in that Leinster semi-final was just outrageous. The only negative really for Kildare is Kevin Feely's injury. That is massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if they wanted to go in and have any chance of running Dublin close, they need to be kind of fully fit and have everyone absolutely available, especially considering Dublin missing a few. So to lose kind of probably your best player is it's a huge loss, especially considering that they thought maybe they had a bit of fortune with Daniel Flynn coming back in and back kind of fit, where he looked very, very sharp at the weekend. So to lose Feely as well, and he's certainly going to miss the Leinster final. It's a huge loss as well. So they'll be glad to have got over the line here, because Westmeath probably feel like they had enough chances to win that game. They hit 10 second half wides, missed an awful lot of chances, only lost by 2 in the end. So it was a real tight actually kind of contest, and Kildare only just kind of came out on top against what was pretty brave Westmeath performance. So hopefully that from their perspective that'll stand to them, and that they can give Dublin a good old kind of rattle in the Leinster final. And we'll see. Sure, you're hardly going to back against Dublin in it, but I think Kildare can give a good count to themselves. They're a Division 1 side now, so they'll be hoping to keep it close anyway.
Yeah, and Daniel Flynn, as you've mentioned, will be key to that. He scored a very individual goal, which just shows the talent that he has, and as well as that, the pass, the vision that he has to set up Jimmy Hyland's goal was absolutely fantastic. And he's absolutely crucial. Jimmy Hyland's form as well is absolutely crucial. Ben McCormack, Derek Irwin, these guys need to hit form for Kildare. And now there's a lot riding on Aaron Masterson's performance, because, he made up a very solid midfield partnership with Kevin Feely, but now the Feely's gone, Masterson will have to have the game of his life really against Dublin. And I think it's obvious that we're both picking Dublin to win this Leinster title again. How close can Kildare get to Dublin, really? If we're talking, points, how many points can Kildare get within?
Yeah, look, I suppose based on kind of the other results in Leinster now, that you'd imagine that Kildare, they'll be within 10 anyway, but I think it'll be another kind of similar kind of pattern to the Meath game, where Dublin will finish about 5 or 6 points ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dublin to win by 10. A bit of a, definitely contradiction, but I think that Dublin are going to be pretty insulted by a lot of the talk that's gone on about, is this the end of an era? Is this the end of the Dubs as we know them? And I think they're going to, make an example out of Kildare, to be honest. I think that they'll be a bit pissed off about everything that's been going on, everything that's been said about, these elite level footballers. And I think they're going to put Kildare away with ease, to be honest.
For the first time in a long time, I think it's some real uncertainty about the championship this year.
Yeah, which, the championship has needed desperately over the last couple of years. Dublin have had such a stranglehold on it. But yeah, so we've picked Dublin to beat Kildare in the Leinster final of 2021, and that is our review of both the Leinster semi-finals and our preview for the Leinster Football Final of 2021. All right, guys, so don't forget to take a look at all our other match reviews in both the football and the hurling, and take care.